Welcome everyone to another episode of the SmackDown Live Recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I'm your host, John Rocha. Clearly, I am getting ready for July 4th weekend with my Hawaiian shirt on here. A little more classy than you would see. This is a classier Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
That's right, in celebration also of Eric Bischoff, one of the guys I love behind the NWO, coming in to take over SmackDown Live. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet over there, Ryan Satin. How are you, buddy?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. You are kind of in a festive mood today.
I'm in a festive mood.
But I guess for the 4th of July, you more supposed to wear like American and stuff, not
Hawaii
tropical
is in
Hawaiian.
America.
No, I know that. I'm talking about Americana type stuff, like like a flag.
I
not
served
Hawaiian
8 years.
shirt.
I don't need to show my colors. I got 8 years of my life.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You can wear your red, white, and blue. No
I
offense.
proved my Americanness to Uncle Sam,
That's
motherfucker.
right. So talk to my uncle. He'll tell
Talk to
you.
my uncle.
Uncle Samuel. He'll tell you right there. Anyway, so
8 years. That's how long you were in the
8 years
service. That's crazy.
Yeah, 90
man.
to 98, son.
90 to 98.
Yeah, first Gulf War.
So then it's been first Gulf War. You were
Yeah.
straight up in war.
Straight up. No, well, I wasn't in war.
But you were serving during
the
war.
yes, absolutely.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Thanks for doing that.
Well, thank you. You're very kind.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Seems like a lifetime ago. That's for sure. 20 years ago.
That's a long time to be doing something like that for
I
sure.
agree.
For sure. Yeah. This is much more. It's chaotic, but not in the same way.
Well, I've been following pro wrestling more than 8 years. That's for damn sure, and so have you. So, we got our loves that we commit ourselves to, but we can't get pensions for this.
It's true.
But that being said...
Hopefully I can one day.
Yeah, sure, for yourself, commit yourself out. Let's jump into this thing, man. So this is Bischoff taking over. I'll tell you something, and this is my overall feeling about this episode. It didn't feel like a Bischoff episode
I don't think it was.
the way Heyman felt like a Heyman Raw. So what do you think it was?
From what I surmise, I think that, and this is just my total guess right now.
Okay.
This is just pure speculation on my part,
sure.
but I feel like with the impending move to Fox, Fox wants a show that caters to all markets, that is much more family friendly, that is much more advertiser friendly. So I don't expect SmackDown to change too much.
Okay.
I think that if you're going to differentiate one of the shows, the safer bet is to differentiate the USA show. That the USA show, it's on cable.
Right.
Cable already lends itself to more adult programming. On USA itself, there's Mr. Robot, where there's cussing all the time.
That's true.
And I remember it was like, whoa, it was like a big deal when they started doing that. And I think that was kind of, my guess is that they want you to kind of, I don't think they want you to notice a huge change on SmackDown. I feel like SmackDown's going to feel like your normal WWE show that you've been seeing for the most part.
Okay.
People are pretty happy with SmackDown for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like it's going to become more of what you saw as Raw, I feel like. And that's kind of, last night was shifting in that direction a little bit. So I noticed SmackDown felt a little more like what we used to see with Raw.
Right.
Just very typical, formulaic kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that was with Raw. I'm wondering, they'd already started with that whole third hour thing where, third hour is going to be more adult. We're going to turn down the lights. We're going to do things a little differently. I'm wondering if that was a note from USA of like, hey, we want a more adult themed thing. Like, go ahead, push the envelope a little bit. And they're like, okay, well, if Heyman's there, people are going to know Heyman loves to do that kind of thing.
True.
And so that was my guess, is that's why we didn't see much of a difference last night, because also Heyman has very noticeable booking things that he does, and I think that I was talking about Jay Washington before we came in today of like, even if he didn't have full control on Monday, I think it's easy for Vince McMahon to book one show at least that looks like it was Heyman influenced, a worked shoot, explosions, sex things, cucking, all that kind of stuff. You go, oh, those are Heyman things, And so even if he wasn't in full control, I think you could visually go, oh, that looks like a Heyman show.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's really the same type of things that you can do in that regard with a Bischoff SmackDown.
Well, there's all that conversation. Was it Bischoff? Was it Russo? Who was in charge in WCW? Who was really the narrative, the creative director of what happened on WCW?
At the end, you mean?
Yeah, at the end there. And was Bischoff really instrumental in creating a lot of the storylines, when they made the jump, Hogan and Hall and Nash. Did he dictate the storylines, or were the guys dictating the storylines?
No,
right?
he was a big part of that.
Dusty was a part of that. I thought Hall,
NWO
Nash
and all that kind of stuff was a big, was a lot of Bischoff. Yeah.
Okay, but all the other storylines that were going around.
Oh yeah, he was a big part of that.
Okay, cool. So there must be some kind of things.
But also, that the things that you're referring to there.
Yeah.
Those things kind of shaped what the format is that we know of now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so maybe it's tougher to see the difference.
That's what I mean.
Because it laid the groundwork for what you see now. That's a great point, actually.
Exactly. It's like,
I hadn't thought of it that way.
And so I feel like what are you gonna do? You're gonna trot Nitro girls out?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
SmackDown girls. That's not gonna okay. And beyond that, like they could have been like, oh, we're gonna have a cruiserweight battle, and then it would have been like, okay, we get it. This is an Eric Bischoff show. I think that those kinds of things would have been too obvious and not the right way.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, if Heyman, with the influence that Heyman did have on Monday night, influence is a better way of doing it. He wasn't booking the show, but he's been part of creative for the past 6 months. From what I've seen in reports and what I'd heard beforehand is that Bischoff was going to be there, but not, giving input yet.
He's not in the gorilla position.
He's not in the gorilla position. Well, if he wasn't like instrumental in the gorilla position like Heyman was, I'd imagine. It was much more of like, getting acclimated to things again, So
makes sense.
that's why I think we didn't notice much of a change. And because of that, as much as SmackDown was a decent show, it was a fun show. Rob blew it out of the water this week.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I think there are a couple of moments, and we'll get to them as we break down the show, that I thought there was a little bit of Bischoff in there, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So let's jump into it. Right off the bat, we get a recap of the Lashley Strowman situation from last night with the appropriate, real serious tone from everybody talking about it. Then Kevin Owens comes out, thank God, and he brings out Shane McMahon and the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Shane calls on Mike Rowe to give him some love. Then they get into the ring. They recap what happened with The Undertaker last night. Shane confidently says he's not afraid of The Undertaker, but then Kevin Owens plays this video of McIntyre getting a little scared, and he makes fun of McIntyre, which to me goes, well, where are you? Are you a heel? Are you a face? I don't know what is happening here, and that was an interesting element to throw into this whole thing. And then they announced that the tag match is a no-holds-barred match.
Well, because first,
going to happen next Extreme Rules.
Dolph comes out, right?
Right. Well, no, not
first
yet.
They announced, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Then, like I said, and he starts asking these questions about, and then Shane finally rips the cards out of him and says, do your job.
Yeah.
Then Ziggler comes out. So before Ziggler comes out, let's address with this first part of the promo. What did you think of this?
Okay, so I was exactly the same way you were while watching it. I was thinking like, we've just been, Owens has been a heel for the past few months now, I'd guess, maybe weeks, months, or whatever.
Right.
He had that like brief thing where it seemed like he was gonna be face, but I think it's been a few months now where he's been back as a heel.
Yeah.
So I was very confused as to the way he was positioned here, because he was absolutely positioned as a face here of like challenging Shane, not reading what Shane wanted, calling them wusses for running away from The Undertaker.
Saying they heard the ding and then they just ran.
All that kind of stuff. So I was confused, and I think by the end of the show, it seemed like maybe they're going to do something different with Owens a little bit and maybe try the face thing out with him. I'm not sure. But I think we were talking about it yesterday about Kevin Owens on Lillian Garcia's podcast.
Yeah. No, we didn't mention that. We didn't do it.
On Lillian Garcia's podcast, he was talking about, you know how there's that clip of him from WrestleMania when they did the 365 special on him, and he goes back to Vince after his match against Chris Jericho, I believe, and he goes like, are we cool? Are we good? Or something like that.
Right.
And Vince says no. And he said, and then he waits there for a long time or whatever. But he says he was on this uphill, thing going. Everything was good. Everything was great. He was going great. Everything was going good. His career was on the rise. And then he said that he was really stressed when he won the Universal title, but it was what it was. He didn't really enjoy it because he couldn't do everything the way he would have liked to have done. Then he lost it. And then he had WrestleMania, right? That was that same year, right? Whereas Goldberg, he lost it. And then it was Chris Jericho, right? I think. And so, but he said that at that moment when Vince said, no, we're not cool, he said everything started to go downhill. He said everything was great. Vince always loved everything he did. It was always like, yep, good job, nailed it, did exactly what we needed. And he said that he hasn't recovered since.
Wow.
That was years ago now.
Wow.
And he says he hasn't recovered since. He said that ever since then, he's been trying to find his place.
Well, why did
his
Vince
role.
Say no? Was it the match?
He didn't want to get into it. He said that he and Vince did finally talk it out.
Okay.
But he didn't want to like go into the details of the conversation.
Yeah.
But he said that he said ever since then he's just kind of felt like he's been trying to figure. He doesn't fit. He doesn't feel like he fits, and he doesn't know. He can't figure out what they want from him, and they don't tell him what they want from him, and he can't figure it out. And he's just been like in this like mental struggle, which was such a bummer to hear.
Well, and that's why I push back on wrestlers who, on the other side, who come out and go, well, you had every opportunity, just didn't make it work. It's not that simple. It's not black and white. It's not. It's personalities, it's chemistry, it's random things that occur when one man is in charge of everything. You can kowtow to that man, but if you don't know how to speak that man's language, you won't get there. Like Triple H knew how to speak the language. And yes, he can say, you know what, other wrestlers were given the opportunity to go into board meetings. I went when other wrestlers were too tired to go, blah, blah, blah. Respect on that end, and what Rollins had to say as well. But there are other wrestlers who don't speak that same language. Vince is not going to come down to you. Vince is not going to compromise and come all down to your level. You've got to find a way to reach him. And if you can't do it, then you sometimes get bowled over by the wheel, rolled over by the wheels of progress, and you can't get back, or it takes a long time to get back.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but look last night. He lost to Otis.
Yeah, he lost to Otis.
You know, I mean, he was the former Universal Champion, and no one's making a big deal with the fact that a former Universal Champion lost to Otis last night. Yeah. And we'll get to all that. I have more to say on that topic because it was crazy. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Well, but also,
I'm not blaming. Just the way the situation is. I'm speaking about the situation is.
I understand both arguments.
Yes, of course.
You know, because I also understand the idea of like. Well, I also understand the idea of like, if you're unhappy, do what Triple H did. You know what I mean?
Right, but
go to the board meeting.
Do you get those opportunities? And how many people can keep going to these board meetings, getting shunned, and not be able to be affected by it?
And I'm not advocating for this because I agree that I think that it should be a better, open, more creative process where it's not just one person's rule, even though he's the boss. But even on regular TV shows, it's like a for the good ones, it's one person rules, but the good ones, it is a
collaborative
environment. Yeah, absolutely. What I was gonna say is though, I feel like it's kind of like that alpha thing, the alpha entertainment. You know, it's the thing. I feel like he doesn't respect people who aren't alphas as much. Yeah. You know, and if you're not an alpha, he doesn't respect it. And I honestly feel like a lot of those people who say like, you didn't do enough while you were on the inside, take a look in the mirror. They're trying to say to people like, you weren't tough enough. Like you weren't, you know what I mean?
It's the coded language.
It is coded language.
That means
and
you weren't
I'm not saying
enough.
They're wrong or right, but look at Drew McIntyre from then to now. If you look at Drew McIntyre then he was touted as the future. And then he got fired.
Yeah.
And if you look at Drew McIntyre then to now, it's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre's like this smaller dude. Then he was like, you know what? I know what they like. They want big, hunky meats. You know? That's what that guy likes.
Yeah.
And he went out and he made himself that.
Yeah.
And he made himself undeniable.
He took the chance.
He took the chance.
Yeah,
and I don't know, I'm not saying he should leave or anything like that, Kevin Owens. And I'm not saying it's Kevin Owens' fault either.
But I also think Kevin Owens has a responsibility to himself, because he could easily go to AEW, easily go back down.
He's got a 5-year contract right now.
But I also think he likes the shine of being in the WWE.
Of course, it was his dream. That's what got him that's what got him into wrestling.
Exactly.
You know?
But it isn't like he doesn't have a history of issues with people along the way. Cornette will be very vocal about the issues he had with Kevin Owens, or Kevin Steen, when he was down there working with him. So he's got a trail of issues that follow him, or at least battles that follow him, because Kevin has a very strong personality. So I don't think it's not him being an alpha. I think it's more a matter of his vibe doesn't mess with Vince's vibe.
I honestly feel like sometimes he loses that strong personality, and I don't know him personally. But you're right. That was always his thing. He had a strong personality, and sometimes when someone loses their confidence, it changes them, you know, and I'm not saying he has necessarily, but like, you're right. I mean, like, he did rub people the wrong way because he was so confident in himself sometimes, and it does sound like that moment when Vince said no did shatter his confidence a little bit, and he's been trying to find it ever since, because, I mean, you're right. I mean, the confidence factor, it is the thing that made him what he was, and I feel like he needs to find, and that's not even just Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen. That's literally everyone in life. Yeah. Everyone has that. I feel like almost every adult has that moment where their confidence was just broken. And then some of them decide to just stay that way, and some of them decide to move on. And I feel like, you know, based on the interview with Kevin, he is on a path of moving on and finding himself or whatever. But But yeah, I didn't like how it's just like we're supposed to forget in this segment that he was a heel for this whole time.
It was weird. And then we have Ziggler come out, and they have a great promo back and forth.
Which was funny
loved it.
because I'm so glad that Kevin Owens told it like it was here. Because I'm not going to lie, this doesn't happen often. And I think Dolph Ziggler is great. But the thing that they have him doing has already gotten old.
Yes.
And I honestly groaned when his music hit. I was like, oh, like, come on. Like, what? Ugh. Like, I was, ugh. And then when he came out, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
They both went at each other. So this is where I think a little bit of the Bischoff-ism is here. Because I think there was a little more reality to these promos than I've seen before consistently in a show. And we'll get to the Kofi and Joe one as well. There was a little, and in WCW, towards the end, they started to have these shoot/promos. Like, and NWO would do these promos as well sometimes that were a little too close to the bone, so to speak.
But wasn't that Russo?
Was it Russo? I don't know. That's the thing.
It's been a while. I'm trying to, because I don't think he was in the. Was WCW 2000 Bischoff?
Yeah, because like when Nash and Hall
were. The New Blood stuff was Russo. What? Oh,
yeah, but when Nash and Hall were doing their promos when they first got to WCW, they were making fun of everybody in WCW in a way that was really close to the bone and really harsh, like calling them all hillbillies, saying that they're even Hogan's famous promo when he turned heel was talking about billionaire Ted and talking about how he made that organization up there and now down here, they need him. Right?
I remember. I had to look at this. I was wondering. It was right. You're right. It was Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo at the end. Yeah, I see why you're saying that. Right. Okay, got it.
I just feel like there's a little bit of that. They probably said, like, just take the chains off, let him go. So maybe this was more of a subtle Bischoff, whereas Heyman was more of a bang. This was more of a subtle, possibly. I don't know.
One of the subtle things I noticed here, and I could be totally wrong, but there was like this weird moment where Shane went to leave. There was someone went to leave in this segment. Yeah, Shane and Drew left, and they didn't play.
Yeah, their music.
Yeah. And then they held on the two for a while, and then the promo kind of continued a little bit, and then Owens finally said, "Well, play my music," and it hit.
And then Kevin Owens was like, "Play mine. It's my show.
It's my show. Play my music." That to me felt a little more real, like you were saying, a little more of that kind of like natural, like no, just hold a second, hold it, wait a second, So I don't know, but I did really like the segment, although I did shake my head at like the booking because you're like, this doesn't make this doesn't make a lot of sense.
That they're setting up because they announced that Shane stops them from battling with each other and says, "You two are now going to be a tag team against Heavy Machinery. Whoever wins that gets to be the third tag team in the triple threat match for the tag team titles at Extreme Rules."
Because you go like, well, but Shane and Sammy just beat New Day.
Yeah.
But why? And then why wouldn't Shane and Sammy? Or sorry, did I say Shane?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Sammy and Kevin Owens just beat New Day. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
I think
Sammy and Kevin who were in the match.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if Sammy's hurt again.
That was weird.
We didn't see Sammy at all last night, and even in the tag team match,
he was on Raw though, right?
He didn't come in and no, Sami Zayn. I don't remember seeing him on Raw.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think so.
He wasn't on the shows this week.
No, I wonder if he's hurt again.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm wondering, or he's on vacation or something. Or, who knows? But anyway, they announced that, and so then Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan interviewed in the back about the possibility that the tag team who that wins that night in the match between Heavy Machinery, Ziggler, and KO will be added to the triple threat match. Bryan seems like whatever, bring it on. It's the way it goes. Management said it has to be done. There's nothing I can do to complain about it, and they roll off.
I like this promo.
Yeah, it was good,
simple, and effective.
Sweet. Yeah, no, there's no complaining or grousing. It's like whatever, I'll take it on.
And he's doing a good job of getting the tag team titles over.
Yep.
He's making it seem important. That's important.
That's what you want. Then New Day's interviewed about this being a 3 tag team match. They do their thing and talk about how, they think it's unfair, but they're going to do their thing and put it. So now we go into the match of New Day versus the new Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan.
Big E versus Daniel Bryan?
Oh, I thought it was a tag match. Was it not a tag match?
No, it was a singles match.
So it was Big E versus
Daniel
Bryan. Just everybody got involved, so I was thinking it was a tag match. So
wait.
In the end, Bryan gets the victory over Big E.
Get involved later.
Later when they were commentating.
This was Bryan versus Big E.
This was
because I was actually happy. I remember because I was thought like, with this whole new thing where they're like, the matches get broken up, and then they start a tag match after. I was convinced this was gonna turn into Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan versus New Day.
So
that's why I remember that that's not what it was, because I thought for sure there was gonna be something before the commercial, and then when it comes back from commercial, it gets restarted as a tag match. And I was really happy they didn't do that, because they had a great match. It was short. I'm not saying they put on like some 6-star classic, but they had a fun match. I mean, the opening stuff when Daniel Bryan was doing the running into Big E, and Big E was just standing there like a brick wall. I know it's a classic spot, but it's one of those ones if done right, it's still fun to watch. And Big E has such good facial reactions of his like, come on type face. And so the fact that he kept telling Daniel Bryan to do it, and Daniel Bryan kept trying and failing, and then Daniel Bryan had to use his like wrestling prowess to then do something different, and then they still tried it again later and he couldn't do it. I just liked all of it. I thought it was smart. I thought that the finish was it made sense. I wouldn't have mind seeing Big E win, but obviously the champions makes more sense for them to win going into it. Daniel Bryan is, and I thought it made sense the way they did it. The spear thing that missed, which looked weird. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but then Daniel Bryan gets hit, and then Rowan kind of like throws Big E into the turnbuckle thing, the light thing or whatever, which they're using a lot more often lately.
Elias,
as a weapon.
While you were showering, Elias hit himself in the knee with that.
I saw that GIF on Twitter.
It was crazy.
And Dana Brooke got her face busted open.
That's right.
So yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I also liked when it was just fun when he got him in the abdominal stretch and he was doing the butt slaps on Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was all getting pissed off and stuff. So yeah, all around I thought it was good. I think Big E was getting his suplex on, and I enjoyed the match. I also feel like he hadn't, and I could be wrong, but I like the knee was used. I feel like he hasn't used that knee as like his actual finisher in a minute. Maybe I could be wrong. But I feel like he's been using the label lock more.
I think he's getting older, man. That knee's a dangerous knee. Yeah. He's in his late 30s now, and he's coming back, and from that neck injury still. To me, it's always been a dangerous move of his. Like
it's not that dangerous.
Like what's his face's double stomp? Like.
That one.
He's going to break his legs one day.
Yeah, that one always blows my mind. When you look at things and you go like, well, I can see they do this or that to make it not hurt.
Right.
I always go, how does that not hurt?
He jacks his legs up and then goes down.
It's kind of like Jeff Hardy, like back in the day when Jeff Hardy would do the Swanton Bomb. He would really like land on the back of his neck on the person, and it didn't look like he was actually hurting the person, but it was a cool move. It looked awesome.
Right.
Now when he does the Swanton Bomb, he just lands like back first on the person's stomach, and it looks painful.
It does.
Way more painful than it used to.
It's scary as hell. I always remember that Sid Vicious breaking the ankle just coming off the second rope onto the floor. I can't imagine what happens with Daniel Bryan's knee. If he goes too far and gets caught, that's a broken neck. Like, it's such a scary move.
I don't know. It's not that scary.
Right. When it happens, we'll talk about it on the show.
That's no different than like a clothesline.
A clothesline? Are you kidding?
Or like Triple H's knee to the face.
He's in midair. I mean, the double knee when he goes to him in the corner. When he's in midair, does the double knee and then comes off it.
Wait, what?
When he runs into the corner and does the double knee or does the knee into their chest.
I'm talking about when he does his finishing move, the running knee to the face.
Oh, I thought you were talking about when he's in the corner. Because he had that move again. He does that move where he runs in the corner and throws the double knees on.
You mean when he's doing the multiple drop kicks in the corner?
Yeah. He runs in and boom. I always think he's going to break something.
Those do look scary, but
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's okay. We're talking about different
sorry,
moves.
my bad. Oh my God, this match has our wires crossed like crazy. Anyway, Bryan gets the victory over Big E, and we move on to later on when they're going to be commentating. R-Truth is interviewed about losing the 24/7 belt, and he just says he wants his baby back. He doesn't want to go back and remember what happened.
I love that.
It's so funny. It sets up what's coming up later. By the way, if you haven't seen the Drake Maverick doing the videos, WWE posted a couple of those, and Drake did as well. Very funny.
The one when he's going on the honeymoon.
On the honeymoon was perfect. God love her.
I died when
she's gonna pin him.
When they're in the car, and he's like, "We're on the way to our honeymoon," and then he puts the title over her face.
Yeah.
And he's like we're going on our honeymoon, and it's just like him in the title, and she's behind the title. I was dying. Or when she's like, wait, what do you mean I have to pay for my own luggage or whatever?
It's your bag.
So good.
The one at the end is the worst.
Which one?
I'm riding in first class. She's riding in row 33. She doesn't know that the champion gets to ride first class. I'm looking at her face. I'm like, they better turn this around where she pins him or something.
Oh, it was so good.
Or she doesn't stop R-Truth from pinning him because it's ruining their marriage.
I loved it. I loved it. They can make this go for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, and I also, when he said that I want my baby back thing, all I could think of was the Chili's commercial. So then I went and made like an edit of him singing the Chili's song. On my,
what?
I feel like I did pretty good.
Did you post it?
Yeah, I posted it. Here, wait, I'll just.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby
Here,
back.
wait.
You gonna play it right now?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back.
That's good.
So I don't know. Those are things I think of when I'm bored at home watching Raw or SmackDown. But yeah, no, it was a good show.
Yeah.
Good segment.
Yeah, I agree.
Good segment. I like that segment a lot. I laugh just because I love R-Truth. Everything he's doing right now is a hit.
I agree. You have Nikki Cross then going in the back, having a back and forth with Alexa, and then Alexa reveals to her that she wants Nikki to host a moment of bliss and says to her, I know you think you're socially awkward, but I think you can do this. She goes and hosts the show. Good back and forth with Bayley. Bayley comes on as her guest. Really enjoyed the back and forth. Bayley going ding dong. I was like, holy shit, this is a great Bayley. I love the real Bayley. Give me more of the real Bayley. She calls into question why Nikki is not facing her at Extreme Rules and Alexa is instead, which well, of course pushes that storyline that they're going to break up somewhere down the road, but it also yields to an impromptu match between them, which Bayley ends up winning. But good, brutal match between these two. Good and some really hard moves on there. Bayley starting off with that double drop kick right off the bat, and then everything that led to their interactions and their back and forth. I really enjoyed, but then Bayley gets the win. Nikki rolls off the pin quickly, so this is an interesting moment. Like, why book her to do this match and lose this match? Is this about like keeping her in a place for now, and then eventually she'll turn on Alexa, or what do you think it's all about?
I didn't like any of this, to be honest with you. I was kind of on the opposite of you on this one. I thought I already think the moment of bliss things are cheesy.
Okay, yes, but, I know you don't like them.
But, you know, having Nikki Cross do it, it was kind of like double cheesy, like her with the sparkly microphone and stuff. Yeah. I thought the ding dong thing was kind of lame too.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of as cheesy. Right. To me, it felt like as cheesy as like the couples things they're doing with Becky and Seth Rollins.
Okay.
I don't know. To me, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. I didn't love this part. Me personally, I wasn't feeling it like I have with Bayley in the past. Okay. The match was good, but I felt the same way as you, that it was like, well, what's the point of having Nikki lose right now?
Yeah.
For just clean outright. Like, there was no real reason for it. It kind of like takes away her big win. It kind of takes away from like her being put in a title match going forward. Yeah. And to me, it kind of like, I don't know, like stops that. Kind of puts a stopper there.
Yeah,
you know? Because like, why is that whole thing was like, well, why isn't Nikki in the match? Well, because she just lost now again.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe that's why they did it, to have her lose, so there was no questions about why she's not in the match and they can focus on the Alexa Bayley situation. But it certainly leads to Nikki being upset at losing the match to Bayley, which would motivate her to interfere in the match with Alexa and Bayley at Extreme Rules. So I see the logic of it if that's how it plays out.
That's not where they're going with it, though.
Well, you're probably right. You might be right. Yeah. I just feel like certainly there's a possibility to argue that this is what they were thinking.
If that's where they're going with it, I'm better with it.
Okay.
If at the pay-per-view at Extreme Rules, Nikki turns heel, then or Nikki like actually sides with Alexa for real and stops kind of like towing around the situation and like gets a little bit more of an edge to her, I'm into it. But right now, it doesn't feel like that's the way they're going.
Okay. I also think, and this is, I hate saying this because I really like Nikki in NXT. I also think Nikki may not have been the right person for this. I haven't seen Nikki quite 100% step up with these opportunities promo-wise to kind of sell this thing with that subtlety, that nuance that you need, where you're like cheering for her, but at the same time worried which way she's going to go. And I think she hasn't quite captured that yet. She's still a young wrestler, so maybe it's just not there. But I think another more capable or another better actress in this situation.
More suited for that role.
Yeah, more suited for that role would have worked.
I agree with you. Someone more suited for that role would have worked. I think that Nikki didn't really need all of this.
Yeah.
She would have gotten over just fine on her own. Obviously, this helps because it's getting her more awareness, but I agree with you that it doesn't feel like she's suited for this role.
No.
It doesn't feel, when you watch this, you don't think that like the duo of Alexa and Nikki are really like two people who would naturally pair up like that, you know, and that's they're just two very different people, you know, and I agree with you. That is one of the disconnects of this whole storyline to me, is that there's a wealth of women at the WWE Performance Center who would have fit this role of Alexa's lackey. Nikki being Alexa's lackey doesn't necessarily feel genuine.
Yeah, and I think that's where it kind of falls apart. So I hear what you're saying, absolutely. Okay, let's go to that promo that Ali cut. This really good promo.
Yeah, I like this one.
I enjoyed the promo. I did have one question, but
Okay.
other than that, I really enjoyed the promo. It was a positive promo about, it doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what your name is, but it did matter what your name was. That was my problem. Like, that one line, I was like, well, you changed your name. They made you change your name. So don't say it doesn't matter what your name was, because obviously it was, because they made you change it. So there's a piece there. Overall, I thought it was a great promo, positive message about you can achieve anything no matter where you come from. Even though we do have centuries to prove that is always true, it's still nice to hear it. It's a good angle for him to play. What did you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I hated the one they did 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. The one where like he was like awkwardly staring at people drinking in the streets and looking like he was kind of like shaming them.
Yeah.
It was like, it just looked like bad acting in drama class or something like that. And not on his part, on everything else in that thing.
The way it was mixed.
The way it was produced. This to me felt so much better. It looked cool, had a slick vibe to it, and I agree with you. The inclusivity factor was a good message. It was great. I thought that, I also thought that, Ali, he has kind of gotten away from where he once was. I mean, he was like on this, he had the rocket strapped to him and got skyrocketed. He was killing it. Everyone was like, Ali, 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 and then he got injured. And then Kofi took over, and he's one of those other people who's just been lost. He's just kind of been lost in the shuffle. And I liked that last night he mentioned the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
That he hasn't lost sight of the WWE Championship, because I felt like it seemed to me like he was going lower and lower on the card.
Right.
But then putting a vignette with him on the show where he's straight up saying like, I want to be WWE champion. They don't really have everyone doing that all the time.
Right.
So I feel like that is a good sign for where they see him still, and that's good. So yeah, I like this. I thought it was very effective.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll see. Hopefully we'll get more of these rather than that one that you were mentioning. So.
And he's a good role model. I mean, there's no denying that Mustafa Ali is a good role model. Yeah. So I think that to position him this way is smart.
Yep.
It just has to be done the right way so it doesn't feel preachy, because people don't like being preached at, and that's 100% how the other one felt.
Well, and that's why the Nia Jax one, I think, didn't go down well with a lot of WWE fans when she was doing the body image stuff. Yes, that's important. Yes, that's essential. But I think a lot of fans kind of pushed back against it because it felt like they were being shoved down their throat rather than being something natural and organic within the flow of a promo or a program.
And I do think that, this, I don't want to say preachy, but this is who Ali is.
Yeah,
it's clear that this is something that's important to him and has been for a long time.
It felt organically real.
Yeah, so it didn't. It doesn't feel preachy. I think just the message of the other one did.
Yeah.
This one definitely felt more like, oh yeah, give me more of that. That's a good role model for a giant demographic, and not even that, just a good role model for all demographics, because he's someone who's promoting inclusivity and acceptingness of others. And I think that if they're going to push that message on WWE TV, he's the perfect person to do it.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, we get to the promo off here between Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe. Kofi comes out throwing his pancakes. Then Samoa Joe comes out. Joe calls into question Kofi's place in the New Day and starts saying that, you're getting a little too big for your britches, and that Xavier Woods might be your hype man. All this trying to sow dissent amongst the New Day, which, of course, is going to happen, the breakup, in my opinion. And then he's a really selfish guy. But then Kofi calls out Samoa Joe with all the crap he was pulling and the behind, hitting people from behind or whatever, and then says, your ass is too big to be playing hide and seek.
That was funny.
I dug that. They got really into him, and then Joe kind of ending this thing says to him, shake my hand, because I'm going to do some terrible things to your friends and your family. Just shake my hand and we'll let it be. And then Kofi flicks him off, which is a Bischoff thing in my opinion. I think that
felt Bischoff-y in my opinion too.
Yeah. So what do you think about this whole?
But I don't think he was really involved last night.
Okay, all right. But then
it had that was similar to what we were saying with a booking a thing. It had that vibe. I agree with you.
And then he does the Trouble in Paradise to kind of end this whole thing, which surprised me. I thought Joe was going to get the best of him after the bird, and then he stands over him and leaves. So did you like this?
I loved this.
Okay.
I loved this. I thought the promo was great on both sides. I thought that it made Joe look like such an asshole, but also a menacing person that you don't want to be on his bad side.
Exactly.
He wasn't doing like the screaming stuff. It was almost like a not nice warning, you know, and I like that because it was intense. Like I liked how mean Joe seemed. You know, he's one of the real villains in WWE at this point, where he's not trying to get people to cheer for him. And I also liked that it made Kofi Kingston. He elevated his game here in this in-ring segment. I feel like, you know, a lot of times he kind of like it's similar promos, says the same things, but I liked that he didn't let the family stuff get to him. And it almost felt like he knows how strong his family bond is, you know? Right. And he knows that Joe's not going to be able to put a chink in that, you know, in that armor. And so I like that he was above it. Like, oh, you're saying this thing that you normally say. Oh, you're saying that thing you've been saying now. And the stuff he was saying back was good. It made Kofi feel like a champion. The same for the middle finger, all that. Kofi felt like someone you also don't want to fuck with. And I liked that because you know, I'm sure there are others who go, oh, well, he's just the guy in New Day. Oh, he's just the guy in New Day. He's not a champion. And he did do a point of like, no, I beat that one by myself. I beat that one by myself. I beat this one by myself. Like, I am the champion, you know? And that does elevate his status, I think, when he stops kind of like the silliness for a second, and he is kind of like, no, I'm a champion. Like I'm silly because I am the champion, and I can do whatever I want. And I back it up. You know, I can be silly and wear pink and throw around pancakes because I'm going to back it up in the ring type stuff. And I like that a lot. The warning from Joe was good.
Oh, that was good.
The middle finger was dope. And then you know, because this really does, to me, this set the stage for like I warned you. You brought this all on yourself.
Right, and it could undermine the New Day. This could be the way it happens because it could get so extreme that at one point one of them goes, why didn't you just shake his hand? Like, right? Like, it could be if I don't know their relationships. I don't know if they're going to bring any of the families into that with AJ. But if any of that starts to happen, then there's certainly a possibility, right?
Yeah.
I could see Xavier being the one who rolls over and just says, why didn't you just shake his hand? Like in some kind of like moment of weakness, I could see that and it'd be like, oh, this is good. This is good. So who knows? We'll see as it goes on. But this is a good beginning to whatever may be coming down the pipe. It also feels like they're not done with this program. Like this is going to be a program that goes for a bit.
This seems like it's going to go.
Right?
Yeah. This seems like one they're stretching on.
Zayn and Ziggler out of the way, and now it's these guys. Yeah. All right. Apollo Crews versus Andre is next. We kind of had this tease last week of the Andrade
for like a few
match.
Weeks now.
Yeah, for a few weeks. Right. It finally happened. This was actually a good damn match between these guys, showing you they can throw down. A little NXT vibe to both of them, right? Wasn't Apollo in NXT for a while?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's good to see them going at each other here. I enjoy this. Eventually, Zelina gets involved, does a Hurricane Rana, which leads to Andrade getting the victory, doing his finisher and getting the victory. Did you like what? Like, was there a point to this?
That was my problem with it.
Okay.
I did like the match. I thought it was good. I did kind of feel like it was a little pointless.
Yeah, leads to something. Like if Apollo had won, then maybe we're like, oh, okay, what's up here?
Precisely.
Right?
Is that like, you know, it didn't really help Andrade to beat Apollo. And then after the show, they posted a thing where it's Andrade and Zelina challenging Seth Rollins and Becky for next week. So it's like he's already moving on too from Apollo. So it was definitely filler.
Okay.
And there was also the commercial in the middle of it too. So it was it was filler, but it was good filler.
Yeah.
I mean, Apollo does bring it when he's given the opportunity, and so does Andrade. So I didn't like dislike the match or anything like that. But I did feel like you said, very much filler.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at your notes so I don't skip too far ahead. Was this, I think before or after, was this the Shelton Benjamin thing?
Yeah. Right after,
What was that?
Yeah, it was weird.
What the hell was that? Like, I'm going to have to ask around, obviously, but that made no sense. You gave me the Shelton Benjamin response there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I felt when I was watching the Canella stuff. I don't understand.
It reminded me of like
both these things. I don't
movie
understand.
clip
Canella
where
stuff
they're
and
like,
Shelton.
where they're looking around like and getting nervous. What's that from? Oh, like Wayne's World when he's like, like, you know, it's like all up close on him, and he's like, I mean, I saw one of the things I saw people talk about on Twitter was that because he's Brock's homie, that it was maybe supposed to indicate that he knows that Brock's gonna cash in on at the pay-per-view.
Really?
But that's, to me,
That's a way long stretch.
that's a stretch. That's a big stretch. Also, like, Brock's not just like talking with Shelton like that. It's not like Brock and Shelton are just texting and
Yeah.
he's like, yo, bro, I'm going to cash in on
Right.
at the pay-per-view. That's not likely.
Right.
We haven't seen Brock and Shelton be friends for one time in like 10 years, you know? So is there anything that you could surmise from that?
I just thought it was an attempt to try to do something with Shelton. And I'm like, okay. And then moved on. Like, I didn't think twice about it because...
But they didn't even do anything with him.
That's what I'm saying. Just to have him on camera, though, is doing something with him by definition. But they did. You're right. They didn't do anything with him. But by having him on camera, they at least put the idea in your head that he's still in the conversation. And it also, to me, like I said, it mirrors the Canella stuff. Like, we haven't seen Shelton on screen in a long time.
Not since the Brock thing.
That's what I'm saying. With Maria and Mike, certainly Mike, we haven't seen Mike on, but we've seen Maria in those battle royales recently, but not really that much. So to me, it's just them going, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this person.
Well, I do agree with you in that aspect where it feels like they're, at least this week, it kind of felt like they were trying to give more purpose to everyone all across the board.
Yes.
That I felt like was pretty evident this week. They wanted to give people more to do, and more meaning to some of the middle stuff. But I still don't understand the Shelton Benjamin thing. Give him something. It was weird. Like
I know. I agree with you.
I've been racking my brain on it. Like, what could that have meant?
Yeah.
As just a fan, like without asking around and trying to get actual inside info on it, I've just been like, I don't understand what that was supposed to accomplish. Like, it was literally just a minute of him standing awkwardly, looking around, and then it cut away, and he walked away, and he cut away. I can't. I don't know. Maybe I'm more perplexed by this situation than Rocha is, but I was so confused.
Maybe Shelton's mom is coming back.
But what would that have to do with the
he's hearing
WWE
a voice in
Championship?
his head.
Oh my God. Well, I saw someone saying that maybe that they're gonna pair him up with Liv because there was a video over the weekend of him and Liv. Yeah, him and Liv tagging in like a mixed tag match, and she was like telling him what to do and screaming at him. And it was a pretty funny video.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't see that. That would make sense then.
And that maybe people are saying like, well, maybe he hears someone in his head now and it's going to be Liv who's screaming at him or something.
Right.
But also, stretch, I feel like.
Yeah, fair.
Why would they bring up the WWE title, or was it Universal title they asked him about? I don't know. It was weird. I was confused.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting. I know. I agree with you. It's a little strange. All right, then what do we got here? Is Kevin Owens, Ziggler? Oh, yeah, Kevin Owens, Ziggler shown backstage, figuring out how to work together. KO makes cracks about him being pretty. And let KO do the wrestling. Ooh, I thought it was a bit of a little too hard of a shot. But then they eventually
the hot dog stuff was harder.
Oh yeah, the hot dog stuff. True, I guess. True. All right, fine. And we'll see how that plays out in a little bit here. Ember Moon and
I did like in that segment real fast before you switch off from it.
Sure.
I did like when they finally agreed to be friends, and then Kevin Owens like, okay, we cool, okay, and then he goes to walk away, and he's just trying to eat any more hot dogs on the way. And he's like, really? We just said we were going to be cool. Like that did get a pop out of me. I laughed at that. That was funny.
Yeah, it was good stuff between these. Obviously, they approve everything with each other before they say.
Well, but maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe not. All right, fine.
Could have been a funny thing they just kept in.
I guess so. The hot dogs. All right. Ember Moon and Mandy Rose get into it here, have their match. Surprisingly, they let Ember win the match. She gets the victory with an eclipse.
Surprisingly, indeed.
Yeah, it was a quick match, too.
Very quick.
It was not that long. And Sonya did not get involved at all, other than encouraging the referee to count to 3. Did they? Some people were saying I saw online some people were saying they leaned into the lesbian story. I didn't see that in this. Did you?
Not that I noticed in this. Last week I noticed it.
Yeah, I'm still not on board. I still don't believe it's
A
happening.
lot of the comments last week said that you were crazy, and that they definitely noticed the same thing as me. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention this week, though.
I just think it's dangerous. I really do. I think it's dangerous. I think it brings up the old stereotypes of, well, if a gay person gets around you and you're straight, they're going to try to get with you. I think it's just a bad
know what Mandy's
inference.
background is.
We don't. You're right.
You don't
You're right.
assume things.
Well, I'm just saying. She's always been presented as straight.
She hasn't been presented as anything.
Certainly Corey Graves has.
It's not like they go out there
Corey
and
Graves has certainly presented her as straight.
He presented himself as attracted to her. I don't think they present any of the characters as gay or straight. They're all just characters. You think that she's presented as straight?
I think she's presented in a certain way that implies straight. But you're right. Maybe that's me just reading the signals in the old way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, because I don't think that they imply that she is. I've never heard any wrestler imply that they're straight.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I think you can say that for yourself. You've never heard it. But for the history of wrestling, there have been many wrestlers who be like, I ain't gay or I'm straight, blah, blah, blah. There have been many wrestlers in promos who've done that.
You're talking about history of wrestling. I'm talking about right now. Wrestlers that are
currently
like,
right now.
They're not. No one. You haven't heard that. I can't even think of a promo where I've ever heard that. I'm not gay.
Well, I've certainly heard The Rock and John Cena do multiple promos where they infer the other person is like less manly because he might have gay tendencies.
Okay.
We have definitely heard that.
Okay.
Which is always ironic when they both talk about inclusion. I'm like, can I show you some promos?
Well, people change. Times change. You don't think people can change?
I don't think it's not that they changed. I think they knew what they were saying as part of their job, and they said it a certain way.
I think people can change.
Yeah?
I know hateful people who.
He's not hateful.
But I know people who hated homosexuality that now watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think people change.
Yeah, all right.
Times change. People change,
I just think
people grow up.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying I think these were promos done at a certain time where it was
I think it's also
okay to say those things. And I think now it's not so much.
Correct.
Right.
But I think that also, I believe that I don't think The Rock. I could be naive here, but I don't believe they felt like those words were hurting people. And when they learned that they stopped them. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people said those things. I mean, I said that stuff when I was younger, like you said it when you were in the army to people.
Nope.
You never insulted someone in the 90s by calling them gay.
Nope.
A guy lesser than.
Nope. I never did
that when you were younger.
No, because
that was a thing. I mean, I'm not like that's crazy for me to say that. I
never
was
said
a child.
I never said gay and I never said the F word.
Oh, I never said the F word because I grew up around. I mean, my dad's best friend growing up. My dad's best friend was gay.
Gotcha.
So I never.
Right.
I've never looked at gay or straight.
Now,
lesser than, but I definitely think that it was a thing that was said when I was younger all the time.
Say, and I'll be honest, the jokes in the 40-year-old version, where how I know you're gay, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that I've done because that's playful and I've done that with gay guys, being playful, joking around like that.
So then you've done the same thing.
But I've never called someone gay. That's different. That's like as a slur. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a difference.
Okay.
Nuance is important, Ryan, in language.
I've never said it hatefully to a gay person. That's not what I meant.
Did you say hatefully to a straight person? To imply they were less than manly?
Yes, that, but not a hateful way.
Okay.
And I was also a teenager in the 90s.
In a hateful way, that's not a,
No, I meant people say, and neither, I don't think John Cena and The Rock were either.
I'm saying that, but there were words in there that you could look a certain way. So when you were saying the original, which was the original point of our debate here.
Well, the original point of our debate was you said that they imply that Mandy Rose is straight on TV, and I don't know how that's possible besides the fact that she's sexy.
Yeah, right. I just feel like that's what I thought. That's what it feels like to me. But you're right. But I also said to you, you're right. It might be me just kind of inferring that from what I've seen because. With Sonya, they do lean into the fact they let her wear the colors and all that, which is great. And I
because even when Darren Young was on TV, they didn't.
That's right. They didn't. Exactly. But that's why I like what they're doing with Sonya.
Me too.
I really love it that it's opening up. But I just worry about the lesbian story because I remember what's her face left because there was a lesbian storyline. Who was a long time ago? They were trying to push a lesbian storyline and she left. I don't know if it was China or I don't know if it was one of those women around that time who left because she didn't like that they were pushing a lesbian storyline. I can't remember. But anyway, KO and Ziggler take on Heavy Machinery next with Xavier and Biggie and Daniel Bryan and Rowan commenting at ringside. This turns into an all-out melee after they kind of trade barbs at each other on the mic there, and I mean they're commentating mics between New Day and Biggie. I mean, so Rowan and Bryan. They go at each other. Eventually, they get sent to the back. The match gets restarted, and in the end, Heavy Machinery does get the victory, but only after Ziggler accidentally super kicks Kevin Owens, and then they do their finisher move, Heavy Machinery does, to put this thing away.
I liked the way they did the commercial thing this time, where they're trying to get around it.
It worked better.
It worked better when New Day
sense.
finally snapped and they attacked Daniel Bryan and Rowan. I liked that. I always like when they have the New Day announce table, and even though there was 100 people on commentary during this match, there was just like that long table of people and two separate tables, the whole thing. But Daniel Bryan was also great on commentary here, and the stuff that he was saying in New Day, where it was like, when were you even in a main event? I love that he has turned the smart meter up to 5,000. He's just like cranked it up, and it makes his character that much better because it's like he's like a smart who cares about the environment, and it's great to me. When he was doing the whole you were main evented a show type thing, good stuff. The match itself, Heavy Machinery is coming along. People are loving them. Otis is over as hell. I thought it was good, but like I said, the former Universal Champion lost to Otis.
Yeah, but he lost in a way that he got Ziggler's finisher and their finisher. So
agreed.
If you're going to lose, it's still a hardcore way to lose.
I just feel bad for Owens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Imagine that being Seth Rollins. Imagine that being. I'm trying to look at the other former Universal Champions.
Ginger's lost that way.
But he's not even the Universal Champion list is very short.
Yeah.
And he's losing to a guy who's been on the main roster for less than a year.
Finn's been Universal Champion. He took losses to some people that
At least
were
he's
like,
Intercontinental Champion right now.
Right now.
But also, was Finn even on the show last night?
No, he was not.
Something's got to be up with the Finn Balor absence. I saw someone say he hasn't wrestled, or he hasn't been on TV. Besides that one moment, he hasn't wrestled since I want to say Super Showdown or something.
That's certainly possible.
I have to go back and look, but
it's Superstar Showdown.
Yeah. I liked the match.
Okay.
But I just felt bad for Owens at the end.
They're putting over Heavy Machinery.
They are.
Yeah.
And it made more sense for Kevin Machinery to be in that match than Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler. And I'm sure Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler is going to be one of the matches at Extreme Rules now.
That's going to be fun.
I just wonder, it just was weird the way Kevin Owens was positioned, because we've been positioned to boo him this whole time. And it's like, now we're just supposed to cheer him because he doesn't like Dolph Ziggler and we don't, and Dolph Ziggler is annoying.
I think Ziggler is the face in this situation.
No.
Yes.
No way.
You're insane.
You're insane.
How can you not think he's not the face?
Because the crowd was going nuts for Owens when he was calling Dolph Ziggler out and saying, "No one cares about your stupid, it's me." And he was like he was already in that segment. He was like the one face in that segment because Ziggler came out and was like being the whiny heel like he's been, and then Owens was like the one face at the end. And then at the end of the thing, he beat up Dolph Ziggler and was like, "This is my show. This is my show."
Right.
Felt like they were going full face on Kevin Owens here.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's the vibe I got.
Okay.
I didn't get the Dolph was going to be the face.
Well, I got Petulant Child from Owens all night, so I thought that's a face heel. That's a heel thing. The Petulant Child heel thing. What about me? The Raven thing in Daniel Bryan thing as well. It felt like, no, it's my show. No, you super kick me. I'm gonna stun you. And you should love me. It felt that way to me. So I don't know.
They want that millennial demo though, and that's how we millennials act.
I'm not getting involved in that at all. I've met plenty of good millennials who I inferred were straight. Apparently that's a thing I do now all of a sudden. Anyway, all right. Always fun to have these back and forths with you, Ryan. Any final things about SmackDown?
No, we hit everything.
All right. We'll see what happens next week as we prep for the Extreme Rules coming up. And there you go. All right. Well, thanks.
Is next week the go homes?
No. I think the week after is go because it's July 19th, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So one more week. So we'll see how they keep building towards Extreme Rules. But they're announcing the match specifications. So that's for sure.
Well, they've been kind of doing that with each one.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. They're announcing them piece by piece, so we'll have a full card soon, I'm sure. All right, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching this SmackDown Live recap. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch or to listen to us break it all down for you. Ryan, where can they read, listen, and watch everything we do?
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where all the videos are. That's where you can find the Raw and SmackDown recaps I do here with Rocha. That's where you can find Wrestling Sheet Radio, where we discuss the top stories in the world of professional wrestling. All sorts of stuff on the Wrestling Sheet YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. At Wrestling Sheet on social media as well. And if you want to listen to all of these things instead of watch them, just check out our podcast feed. It's Wrestling Sheet Radio on Podcast One, Stitcher, all of them, Spotify,
there you go.
Google Play. There's ones I don't know about. I guarantee it.
Pocket Casts.
And also, if you are watching, Pocket Casts, also a good one. And if you are watching on YouTube while you're here, thank you. I appreciate it. But please make sure you like the video, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. One guy had a funny comment that made me laugh yesterday where he said, Ryan Satin's that guy who needs a timer when he's speaking about things. Otherwise, he doesn't shut up or something like that. Or something along those lines. And I was like, hey, man, we got an hour to fill.
Yeah.
I got to talk for a long time.
Ryan is constructing arguments as a Latino does, which is setting the foundation and building to the point. So I'm used to it. So I just appreciate that. So I let it go.
Kind of like driving somewhere without Waze. I'm like figuring out where I'm going. And then when I get there, I'm like, oh, I know where I'm at. Here's where I'm going. I'll lead to that, So
that's how we do it,
yeah.
son. Please trust me. I know that. I've done it myself many times on this show, I'm sure. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. You can follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says. Have yourself an awesome July 4th. Be safe. Don't light fireworks in front of your face. Don't get too drunk and get into any situation. If you want to, go watch a bunch of Kurt Angle matches in honor of an Olympic champion who celebrates the country. Or you might want to watch Lex Luger and Yokozuna.
I was going to say that's the one. Yeah, that's America right there.
Not to end on a depressing note, but somebody sent me that video and I counted the amount of wrestlers that are no longer with us in that video, and I was like depressed. And then I yelled at the guy for sending it to me.
Depressing indeed.
Right, exactly. So go celebrate something positive that has to do with the United States or America this weekend and enjoy yourselves. And we will talk to you next week with 2 more episodes of the Raw recap and the SmackDown Live recap here on the Pro.
Oh yeah, no Wrestling Sheet Radio this week. Sorry, because it's 4th of July, like you were saying.
Well, there you go.
ProWrestlingSheet.com